Okay, so the next step in rolling out profitable crews for the case study Sean's video is to actually introduce the scoreboard. And we want to show the employees the scoreboard, and I want to walk you through exactly how we're going to apply Sean's numbers to it. So you're going to go over here to the show the scoreboard, and you're going to show up on something like this. What you'll notice is it starts with January 1st. So I'm going to update it to today's date, and all I'm changing is this one in orange. I'm going to make it November 8th, 2023, which is today's date on the day that I'm shooting this. And it will automatically go 7 days later. So whatever day you're going to track, so some people, when I meet with them, I meet with them on a weekly basis to review their scoreboard. It may be on a Friday, it may be on a Monday. What we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out last week's numbers. So if you pay weekly, it's last week's numbers. If you pay bi-weekly, like every 2 weeks, then you're really looking at the last 2 weeks' numbers. But whatever the case would be, you want to put in the appropriate date on when you're going to track this. And then the next thing that would happen is we're going to come in and we're going to put Sean's information. So we know that Sean's foreman makes $32 an hour and his technician makes $20 an hour. And we know that his target number is 18%. And so week one, let's say we were recording last week's numbers today, and we were going to say, all right, last week he worked 40 hours and he worked 40 hours. And so what you'll see is we'll come in with those round numbers, but sometimes what ends up happening is people work overtime. And so if you pay overtime, then you need to calculate overtime. And so, you'll see if you put in 42 hours, it actually calculates the overtime hours and it turns the cell red, indicating that overtime has been applied to this number. So again, if we drop it down to 40, it could be less, it could be 39. And again, what ends up happening is because they're really working to hit the production numbers, you're going to see that it becomes less and less of an issue in terms of their hours and more them working towards this 18%. But again, for the purpose of this, we'll use 40 and 40. It automatically calculates the 2080. And so the only other number that we need to put in is what did they do? So did they do the 13,269? And so what will end up happening is it will say the cost of labor was actually 1568, so it was lower. And so it will apply the bonus of $308, exactly as we saw in the last, but they're able to see exactly what's going on. So this becomes a scoreboard for your foreman. Now, maybe everybody knows what everybody gets paid, and then it becomes a scoreboard that you can display. And so very quickly, just to show you the numbers the next week, they come back, they do 15, they do 40 and 40 again. And what you'll see is it's 2080. But let's just put that example of 42 hours. And they don't have to be the same. Maybe you're a foreman around 42 and your other person worked 40. It will still calculate the actual cost of labor. And so if we did 42, 42, you'll see labor jumps up. They're both red, indicating both are in overtime. And it's calculating overtime at 1.5 times regular pay. But you'll see they still hit bonus and they'll still get their bonus, and this is what their weekly pay would be. And so this becomes the scoreboard we want to show them so that they can see. And again, you're going to see them jump from that 11,560 all the way up to 15. It wouldn't even surprise me if sometimes what ends up happening is you see them jump where something's going on in their lives and they're willing to work hard, right? They're willing to do way more hours. Now you may see that the hours jump up where it's 44 hours and 44 hours, but again, you don't care because the reality is you're happy to pay it because labor is actually 13%. And so they're getting their bonus up to the 18%. And so it's not costing you any more in terms of a percentage, but they end up making significantly more money, which creates that alignment, that triple win that we've been talking about all the way through this process. And so this is why Sean's going to implement this in his business and see his employees are happier, his customers are happier, and most importantly, he's going to make the increase in net profit that he's really desired or focused on, and the reason that he wanted to implement this in his business to begin with. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Go ahead and input Sean's numbers so that you can see it, play with the model a little bit, And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're going to have office hours where I can answer questions. I just wanted to make sure that you have the opportunity to play with this model, first with Sean's numbers, and then we'll be able to come back and apply it to your business so that you will have a scorecard that you can apply for your employees.